This video is brought to you by AmerUSA.com, where you can screen tenants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In this episode, we will be discussing Virginia landlord tenant laws. The following is a summary of landlord tenant laws in the state of Virginia as they apply to residential rental property. Topics include disclosures, withholding rent, the right to enter, security deposits, eviction, increasing rent, and more. Required disclosures. Contact information. The landlord must disclose to the tenant in writing at or before the commencement of the tenancy the name and address of the person authorized to manage the premises and the owner of the premises or its agent for the purpose of service of process and for receiving notices and demands. Military zone. A landlord of property in any locality in which a military air installation is located must provide to a prospective tenant a written disclosure that the property is located in a noise zone or accident potential zone, or both, as designated by the locality on its official zoning map. Mold. A move-in inspection report must include whether there is any visible evidence of mold. If evidence is present, the tenant may choose not to move in. If the tenant wishes to move in, the landlord must remediate the mold condition within 5 business days, then re-inspect and issue a new report indicating that there is no evidence of mold. Ratio utility billing. A landlord who uses a ratio utility billing service, who intends to collect monthly billing and other administrative and late fees, must disclose these fees in a written lease agreement. Potential for tenant displacement. If an application for registration as a condominium or cooperative has been filed with the real estate board, or if there is, within 6 months, an existing plan for tenant displacement resulting from demolition or substantial rehabilitation of the property, or conversion of the rental property to another use, this must be disclosed to the tenant before entering into a lease agreement. Move-in condition. Within 5 days of moving in, the landlord or tenant, or both together, must prepare a written report detailing the condition of the premises. The landlord must disclose within this report the known presence of mold. Security deposit limit. A landlord may collect up to a maximum equivalent of 2 months' rent for the security deposit. Deadline for returning a security deposit. After the tenant has moved out, the deposit must be returned within 45 days. The tenant may request to be present at the final inspection. For landlords that own more than 10 single-family homes, an interest rate of 4% below the Federal Reserve rate must be paid on deposits held over 13 months. Late fees. Rent is legally due on the date specified in a lease agreement. There's no Virginia statute addressing late fees, so in order to charge one, it must be written into the lease agreement. Increasing rent. On a month-to-month lease, a landlord must give tenants at least a 30-day written notice to raise rent or change another term. Longer lease agreements cannot be increased unless the agreement itself specifically addresses raising the rent. Withholding rent. A tenant may withhold rent after a landlord fails to provide a habitable and safe rental unit. But before the tenant takes such an action, written notice must first be given to the landlord describing the problem and allowing a reasonable amount of time to resolve it. Terminating tenancy and eviction. An immediate notice to quit can be used for a breach of the lease that is willful or a criminal act, is not remediable, and is a threat to the health or safety of others. A 30-day unconditional notice to quit may be used for any repeated violation of the lease after the first violation was cured. All other violations must be given 21 days to cure with an additional 9 days to quit. The right to enter. A 24-hour notice is required before entry unless a tenant requested maintenance. For more information, additional laws and articles can be found at AmericanLandlord.com.